guys, welcome back out to the channel. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to my friends and people I know who are sharing this time of isolation by themselves. I know how hard that is and how difficult it is to be completely by yourself and not being able to easily interact with people or be active. Super, super tough. And talking about isolation being really, really tough, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about our seniors out there today and talking to our caregivers. And you know, caregivers today come in all ages. There's one aspect of this that I want to talk to, and that's the isolation. Because seniors already have a tendency to have a fairly isolated existence. This is going to make it so much more complicated for them, and it's going to increase the depression by so much. You know, it wasn't too long ago that I was in this exact same position. We didn't have the coronavirus, but I was the caregiver for my mom and helping take care of my sister. And it was not an easy caregiving. So I totally get the remote caregiving. Out of all caregiving, that is the most difficult. What I'm going to talk to you about today is a little bit of the information that I put in my book, Caregiver Survival Guide, How to Eliminate Stress in 30 Minutes with Chinese Medicine and Other Useful Tools. And this book was really focused on the stress of caregiving because my caregiving experience was on the super high side of stressful. And anybody who's a caregiver right now, today, their caregiving experience is going to be on the super high side of stressful. So one of the biggest aspects when we're looking at isolation and loneliness is how do you stay in touch and engaged with your senior? One of the key ways that you can help with that is by selecting technology where you can do video conferencing with them. You know, with technology, you know what's going on, you can easily monitor them, you can talk to them in person, and you can ensure that they're healthy and that they're in a safe place. This is going to be especially important when you can't just easily drive over and see them. So let's talk about that technology, because there's a lot of that technology out there, right? You can do Zoom, you can do Skype, you can, there's a ton of apps to use on your phone, and there's the Echo Show. So let's talk about what was important to me when I was looking at the technology. What I found dealing with seniors is that first, it would be best if it needed zero interaction from them. The minute it starts needing interaction, you can pretty much forget it. And then the other thing that you want this technology to do is you want to make sure that it has really good uptime. So what my husband and I found was important is that being that we were going to do video conferencing, it was either going to have to be through our phone or through the internet. And either way, if it was through the internet, it had to be able to reattach itself if it somehow got dropped or disconnected from the internet. And it had to do it on its own. You could not have something out there that even needed your senior to go unplug it and plug it back in, because that was never going to happen. And then the other thing was that it didn't need their interaction in order to contact them. And you know, that kind of control for the caregiver is pretty important. So those were the three things that I was looking at when I was looking at doing some sort of video conferencing. And I wanted it to be video conferencing because, you know, we have 5 senses, and the more senses you can engage when you're talking with someone, the better. The more fulfilling the experience becomes. So being able to talk and being able to see the person really highlights that experience. Almost all your phone technology wasn't usable because they had to do something. They had to figure out how to use those new interfaces. And sure, they might have had an Apple phone, but add a new application that needs 1 or 2 steps, and it just becomes way too complicated. So a lot of the video conferencing that came on the phones, I just found it wasn't usable, and I didn't find that it had 100% stability. So there's a couple apps that my husband and I use on our Android phones. You know, they're not 100% stable, and the only reason why we can use them, and I was just looking for one that we use a lot right now, the only reason why we can use them is because we're okay with troubleshooting it back and forth and figuring out what we're missing. But you know, you can't ask your senior to do that. Oh, that would be impossible. And so then there was, you know, what can you do on the PC? And there's some of the seniors, maybe about 20% of them use the PC. So when I was looking at Skype, Zoom, some of those, that wasn't really feasible either. I mean, I could have set up a little executable that they just had to click and that would open the whole thing up, but then they would still have to click on something to call or contact me. And if I wasn't there, there wasn't going to be that understanding that nobody's picking up because I'm not there at my PC. And so that didn't work for me either. And you know, my senior wasn't very good at PCs anyways. So the next one that came out was Amazon's Echo. And then later on, the Echo Show came out. And let me tell you, that technology, whoa, that was like a serious godsend. So not only did it allow me to drop in, it was super easy to hook up. You just had to go to whatever their network was, plug it in. It took me 2 seconds to add it to my phone and make sure that it worked. And I could even drop in and make sure that everything was working. And then you were set up. And it would, every time it would drop off the internet, if the internet went down or if something happened, it would always bring itself back up. The only time it wouldn't work is if the router didn't come back up, and then somebody would have to unplug the router. But otherwise, it was constantly up, and the sound quality on it was really, really good. So I already had I had a big love affair with the Echo, because not only could I now just drop in on my senior whenever I wanted to, but I could also set up reminders on the Echo. So I could remind them that, oh, you have to go do this today, or you have to take your medicines, or you have to do whatever it is that they needed to do. I could put those reminders on there and they would get them. So, you know, and you could order an Uber off of that. So there was a lot of things on the Echo that I really, really liked. The one thing, when I first started this, it didn't have video. And towards the end is when it got the video. So the Echo Show, the little one, it finally came out with the video. And so right now, those Echo Shows are $89. A few months ago, they were only $59. Yet, what I really like about those is you get the video and the audio, and they're pretty robust. Now, my Echo Show, I've had it for, I don't know, I've had it for a year or so, and I am getting some issues with the voice recognition. You know what you can do? You can upgrade yourself to the Echo Show. I think this is a 2nd gen. And seriously, this guy was super easy. All I had to do was plug it in, and then I went into my Alexa, identified that I wanted to add another Alexa device, added this, gave it a name, and it did the rest itself. I think I had to tap it maybe once or twice, and then it just set itself up, and everything's been fine since, and it just does whatever it's supposed to do. And you can drop in on this. You can see, it has a camera so you can see around you. And this has a bigger screen too, and it has a better resolution. So this would be a great one for your parents. So that's kind of what I was looking at when I was looking at finding a way to communicate with my mom. And again, it really had to be easy. It could not require interaction from her, and it had to have uptime. It had to be coded well enough that it would give you 100% uptime. It had to allow me to initiate conversations so that she wouldn't have to worry about any of that. So all of that was just awesome with these Echo shows. Some of the best units I've seen out there. I know that, you know, most of us are in lockdown right now, or we're in self-isolation, but if you're worrying about your senior, I would really think about ordering one of these. The setup time is like 5 minutes again, and it's a great way to connect and to talk to them. I was always talking to my mom through my phone, dropping in on her. And you can still do that today. You can drop in on any of your devices through your phone. And with a picture and everything, great way to help them deal with the isolation and the depression that's going to be just around the corner here. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for coming out. And until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.